I have my sauce. See? It's my cheese sauce. I added the sour cream last. And so now I'm mixing my macaroni and cheese. I put some in here. And what I'm going to do is layer it. Because I want to put my chunks in. It's very cheesy. Very cheesy. But that's how I like it. Very cheesy. Now, I'm going to finish using this. I'm going to pour some more cheese. Now keep in mind, the noodles, I cook them in boiling water with a little salt and a little oil. You cook the noodles about 20 minutes, drain them and rinse them. And then your cheese sauce, as I mentioned, has a stick of butter, salt, pepper. And then whisk it with the flour and it'll get nice and smooth. And that's your thickening agent. Now once that gets smooth, then you add your 2 scrambled up eggs. You stir them up. You pour them in the pot. Your heavy cream. And what else? Heavy cream. Oh, and a little carnation. Okay, so I'm going to put the rest of this in here. Now this is very, very cheesy. Very cheesy. Okay. Now it's too thick. Too thick. Oh, chunks. All I'm doing right now is these chunks are too big. I'm cutting them up. Okay. And now you might say, oh my God, that's so thick. Don't worry about it. You're going to put it in the oven. Now my pies are not ready, so I can't put anything in there yet. Now, see, this is what happens when you don't measure anything. I still have some cheese sauce left, but you know what I'm going to do? I also have some noodles left from that 1-pound box. I'm going to take and put them together and freeze them. See how you do that? Because I don't need them, so I'll freeze them. So, what I'm going to do here, put a little paprika on it. Now, this I'm going to cover with a little aluminum foil. And also, because this might seep over a little bit, and I don't want to clean my oven, I'll have a tray under it. Okay. So, there's the macaroni and cheese. Now keep in mind, I still have this cheese that I'm going to put on top, but that's only after it's been in the oven for, oh, I don't know, I would say maybe 35 minutes. Then I pull it out, put the cheese topper on it. Sorry, put this cheese on top of it. Then it'll go back in the oven. Okay, so now I'm going to get some aluminum foil. What I usually do with stuff like this is I spray my aluminum foil. And you say, why? Because it'll stick to my the macaroni if I don't, and I don't want it to stick. Okay, so I'm gonna set this. I can set it right here. That's the good thing I got a big table, huh? Okay, so now the next thing I'm gonna do is this dressing. Maybe I'll do this. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Oh, Jesus. Now this is really, really easy. Really easy. Really easy. Okay, where is... Okay, now what I'm doing right now is I'm getting some celery and onions because, as I said, I like to multitask. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting ready for my dressing, even though I'm getting ready to do my cabbage. Okay, cabbage. I know what I'm looking for. You know, sometimes I will, because I love fruit, I will throw it in just about every meal that I fix. I just do. So, in this case, and as you can see, this is not a very big cabbage. It looks like a lettuce, don't it? But it's a cabbage. I'm going to cut it up, and I'm going to, okay, the pies are starting to rise, and they do need to do that before you know that they have thoroughly cooked. Now my skillet has a little oil in it from something else I cooked, and I'm going to use that flavor. But see, this is like some would say a hobo meal. You throw everything in there together and let it cook. Now, I don't deal with the dead leaves or anything like that. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is get this cabbage, and where is, didn't I tell you, I've never been so, there it is. Now I've got some cold sausage that, again, I love to find things on sale. Now, this is frozen, but to show you how quickly this is something that you can prepare, it's frozen, but it cooks up really fast. This is one of those meals you can come home and cook, really, honestly. When my kids were at home, that's exactly what I did. So you cut up your sausage in pieces, some would say serving size pieces. In a bowl, smell it, and cabbage, I'm going to wash it. Where is, I need another bowl. Now, keep in mind, I'm like this only because I cooked in a commercial kitchen for a long time. And when you cook in a commercial kitchen, you're never watching how many pots you use. You're just prepping, you're just doing what you have to do. And that's part of a habit that I developed a long, long time ago. So that's not something you have to do. It's one of my bad habits. You know what? I'm going to put this in the side. You hear that? That's the sausage I put here. I just put a lid on it. And I'm going to cut up this cabbage and rinse it off. And then it's going to go in there. You see how I'm doing this? I quartered it. I'm going to take this core out. Oh, I wish you could smell it. It smells really good. Alright. Now, you might be wondering what I have on back here. I have a very bad back. And I can't stand long. So I have to wear a back brace, orthopedic back brace, so that I can stand. And you might say, well, why are you doing all this? Because it's important. It's important to me. This is something, as I said, I enjoy doing. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it. It reminds me of my mother. It reminds me of family, being at home. Yeah. And so that's why I do it. And you know, I think back when my mom was getting older and we would go to visit her and she would prepare all this food, and she had gotten to a point where she was a smoker. She was a heavy smoker. And she had gotten to the point that she couldn't taste her food anymore. And she always had too much pepper in her food. So you couldn't eat it. I, on the other hand, have always had a bad stomach. And so I've always had to be careful about stuff like that. Spicy foods, just about everything. So a meal like this, I'll prepare it once a year, and I will suffer the consequences. Other than that, I don't cook like this anymore, but that's why it's so important to me. I do it, as I said, once a year. And you might say, what are you going to do with those apples? I'm going to put them in the cabbage. Because I put fruit, I use all kinds of fruit. I put fruit in everything. I'm going to wash these apples. Good thing I got a dishwasher. Draining off this excess water off the cabbage. Yeah, if I didn't have this brace on my back, I wouldn't be able to be in here at all. I normally prepare, every year I bake a lot of cookies and things like that, and I give them out to certain people, and they look forward to it. I've been doing it for a long time. And last year when I did it, I said, well, I can't do that anymore. But you know, that was a year ago, and now I think I gotta find a way to do it because, again, I do enjoy doing it. And I know people look forward to it. I make maybe 10, 12 types of cookies and cupcakes and breads and all that stuff. And I wrap them up and put a pretty bow on them and give them out to some of my neighbors, some of my business associates, some friends. I've been doing it a long time, so I'm just used to it. Okay, now I've washed these, and again, there's no certain way. Again, all this is very chunky food. You don't have to dice it up, do anything special. It's the cabbage cola sausage. I'm going to put a little onion in it and some salt and pepper. Now, I do put vinegar in it, but it's once it's done. Once it's through cooking, then I pour a little vinegar over in it. Okay. Now, I usually do the collard greens or something like that, but again, I wasn't up to it. That's another reason why all this was so important to me. I want to do this while I still can. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put this. Everything goes over in there together. And I'm going to put salt and pepper. I want you to see what I'm doing. Where's the salt? Jesus, how did I get so disoriented? Put some salt. And you might say, well, how much salt is that? I would say 2 tablespoons. Some pepper. How much pepper is that? That's about 1 tablespoon. And a little onion powder. Now, I did put a little onion, a whole fresh onion in here, but again, I like to put a little onion powder. I think it enhances the flavor. Now, water, everything in this pot creates a liquid. So I don't really have to put any water. But if I do put water, it's very little. Now I do put a little bit of oil on it. I would say that's about 1/4 cup. And a little bit of sugar. I would say that's about 2 tablespoons. 1 tablespoon. Okay. Oh, I better put a little water in it. Okay. So, this is going to be maybe 1/4 cup of water. Because as I said, the cabbage lets off. Cabbage has a liquid. The apples certainly have a liquid. And of course the sausage. And the onion. Everything has a liquid. So it doesn't really need any. So, I'm going to put it over here. Put a lid on it. And let it go. And then every now and again I will stir it. And that's it. Okay, so I'm going to check on these pies. Take off my rubber gloves. And I got to clean up some of my mess. Okay. Alright. Wow, they look good. Okay, I got to give them, another 10 minutes. Again, they're at 325. And you just never know how long they're going to take. That's why you speculate on the timeline. They do have to rise a little bit. I'll show you in a few minutes how they rise and how they look when they're done. Because you do want, one mistake that a lot of people make when doing any kind of pie is that oftentimes their crust does not get done. And that's why you bake slow. If you bake slow, your crust will get done. It won't just be nice and pretty on the sides, but that bottom crust will be done. And that happens when you allow it to slow cook, which is what I've been doing. Okay, so, as I said, I've got the cabbage on. what I'm going to do is clean up some of my mess. Then I'm going to do the dressing. And then after that, what's on that list? Then after that, I'm going to put that topping on the cheesecake. Okay, I'll be back.